Welcome to CreepyTalks, where hidden fears come alive through chilling horror tales. Dare to listen as every story pulls you deeper into the darkness. Story 1. The Recorder from Redwood Cabin. No one remembers exactly when the cabin was built. Deep in the forests of Northern California, beyond roads that maps refuse to label, there's a stretch of towering redwoods so dense that sunlight barely touches the ground. Locals avoid it, not because of animals, not because of terrain, because of sound. It started with a man named Daniel Reeves. Daniel wasn't the kind of person who believed in ghosts. He was a field audio researcher, someone who traveled to remote places to record natural soundscapes, wind patterns, wildlife calls, environmental acoustics. Rational, grounded, scientific. Which is why what he left behind makes no sense. In October 2019, Daniel rented a small, decaying cabin deep inside the forest for a week-long recording session. The nearest town was miles away. No signal, no neighbors, perfect silence, or at least that's what he thought. Day 1. The silence that wasn't there. Daniel began recording the moment he arrived. His equipment was top tier, sensitive enough to capture the faintest vibrations. That first night, he noted something strange in his journal. The forest isn't quiet, it pretends to be. At first, that sounds poetic, but the audio files tell a different story. When analyzed later, the recordings from day 1 contained something beneath the ambient noise, something so low frequency it wasn't audible to the human ear in real time. But when amplified, it sounded like breathing, not animal breathing, human, slow, wet, uneven, and it was close to the microphone, closer than Daniel ever was. Day 2. Footsteps that mimic. Daniel started noticing footprints around the cabin, not unusual in a forest, except these footprints appeared overnight, and they didn't come from the woods. They started at the cabin door and led outward, as if something had walked out from inside. Daniel wrote, "I checked my boots. The prints aren't mine. The stride is wrong, too long, too stretched." That night he placed a recorder by the door. At 2:13 a.m., it captured something chilling. Footsteps, slow, dragging, but layered beneath them. Another set of footsteps, perfectly synchronized, like an echo, except slightly delayed, like something was learning how to walk by copying him. Day 3, the voice in the static. By day 3, Daniel stopped going outside. His journal entries became erratic, messy, scratched. It's not in the forest. It's using the sound. It doesn't know how to be human yet. That afternoon, Daniel reviewed his recordings. That's when he heard it. At first, just static, then something forming inside it. A voice, his voice, whispering, "Don't turn around." The timestamp on the recording? It was captured at 3:27 p.m. Daniel had written in his journal at exactly 3:27 p.m. "I keep feeling like something is behind me." Day 4. The door that opened inward. The cabin door had no lock, just a simple latch. Daniel blocked it with a chair before sleeping. At 1:42 a.m., a loud creak woke him up. The chair was still in place. But the door, it was open, not outward, inward, as if something had pushed it open from outside without moving the chair. That's when Daniel did something that would later haunt everyone who listened to the tapes. He spoke out loud. "You can come in." There was silence for 12 seconds. Then the recorder picked up a sound that has since been analyzed dozens of times. No one agrees on what it is, because it sounds like multiple things at once. A person crying, wood cracking, wet fabric being twisted, and something trying to form words. But the clearest part comes at the end, a whisper, right next to the microphone. Not Daniel's voice, not human. "Already inside." Day 5, the final recording. Daniel never left the cabin. Search teams found it 3 days later, empty, no signs of struggle, no blood, no body, just his equipment, still recording. The final audio file is labeled, "Do not listen alone." Of course, people ignored that. The file begins with silence. Then Daniel's voice, shaky, barely controlled. "It's copying me faster now. It knows my voice. It knows how I breathe." Then something interrupts him. A second voice, identical, perfect, mimicking him in real time. Two Daniels speaking at once, one slightly off sync, like a broken mirror. Then comes the moment that made even trained analysts refuse to continue listening. The real Daniel says, "If you're hearing this, don't..." The second voice cuts in, but this time, it speaks first. "If you're hearing this, don't trust..." Then both voices merge into one and say together, "The one that sounds like me." There's a loud crash, something falling, then dragging, then silence, for exactly 47 seconds. And then footsteps, walking away from the recorder, calm, controlled, human, but Daniel was never found. What makes this worse? Here's the detail that investigators never explained publicly, but one technician leaked it anonymously. When they enhanced the final 10 seconds of the recording, they found a third sound. Not footsteps, not voices, breathing, right behind the microphone, listening, waiting. And the most disturbing part? Every time someone plays that recording at night, they report hearing something that isn't in the file, a faint whisper, slightly out of sync, learning their voice. Story 2, the vanishing room on Highway 1. There's a stretch along California's Highway 1 where the ocean feels too close. Fog rolls in without warning. Signals drop. Time doesn't behave normally. Locals call it the empty mile, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is the motel. The case of room 17. In 2021, a woman named Lisa Moreno was reported missing during a solo road trip along Highway 1. Her last confirmed location, a small roadside motel that doesn't officially exist in any business registry. No website, no phone number. But people have seen it, and some checked in. Lisa's car was found parked outside, keys still in the ignition, driver door open, but Lisa was gone. The motel that shouldn't be there. Police reports mention something strange. Officers who responded to the scene described the motel differently. One said it had 2 floors, another insisted it had only one. One officer wrote, "I walked past room 17 twice. It wasn't there. Then it was." Body cam footage? Corrupted. Audio distorted beyond recovery, except for one repeated phrase caught in static: "Don't open the second door." Lisa's phone, the only evidence. Lisa's phone was recovered inside what was labeled as room 17. The room itself looked normal. Bed, lamp, bathroom, one door, just one. But her phone contained a series of voice recordings, each more disturbing than the last. Recording 1, 8:12 p.m. Lisa sounds calm. "This place is weird, but kind of charming. The guy at the desk didn't talk much, just gave me the key and stared." There's a pause, then she adds, "He didn't blink." Recording 2, 10:47 p.m. Her tone changes, uncertain. "I think there's another room." You can hear her footsteps, then a knock. Hollow, like knocking on something that isn't quite solid. There's a second door behind the wardrobe. I didn't notice it before. The recording ends abruptly. Recording 3, 11:03 p.m. Heavy breathing, whispering. I opened it. Silence. Then, it's the same room. But something is off. Her voice trembles. Everything is the same, but wrong. She describes it in detail. The bed is slightly shifted. The lamp is on the other side. The mirror is cracked. And then she says something that investigators still can't explain. There's someone sitting on the bed. Recording 4:11:05 p.m. This one is hard to listen to. Lisa's crying now. It's me. The audio distorts heavily, like something interfering with the signal. She's just sitting there, staring at me. A long pause, then a whisper. She smiled. Recording 5:11:06 p.m. Screaming, running footsteps, a door slamming. Lisa is panicking. I came back to my room, but she stops. Her voice drops to a whisper. The wardrobe is open. Slow creaking sound. The second door is open. Then another voice. Soft, identical. You left it open. Recording 6. Timestamp unknown. No timestamp, no metadata, just audio. Lisa's voice. I don't know which room I'm in anymore. Then, I closed the door. I locked it. I checked twice. A pause. Then the most disturbing line in the entire case. But there are two of me now. What investigators found when police reviewed the room. There was no second door, no hidden panels, nothing behind the wardrobe, just a solid wall. But here's what makes it worse. The mirror in the room was cracked, exactly how Lisa described in recording 3. The final recording. This file was not on Lisa's phone originally. It appeared later, uploaded automatically to her cloud at 3:13 a.m. No one knows how. The recording begins with silence, then footsteps, slow, measured, then Lisa's voice, calm, too calm. I understand now. A pause. You don't leave. Another pause, then you switch. There's a faint sound, like a door opening, then closing, and then nothing. Aftermath. The motel was gone the next morning, completely. No building, no foundation, no records, just an empty patch of land overlooking the ocean. Lisa was never found. But this is where it gets worse. 2 weeks later, a traveler posted a review online for a roadside motel along Highway 1. The post was deleted within hours, but screenshots exist. The user wrote, "Nice place, quiet, stayed in room 17. Attached was a photo, a selfie, in the mirror, smiling, calm, perfectly normal. It was Lisa. Final detail, zooming into the image, reveals something subtle, something most people miss. In the reflection, behind Lisa, there's a wardrobe, slightly open, and inside, darkness. Too deep, too unnatural, like another room waiting. Story 3. The Smiling Man of Blackwood School. There's a school in Northern California that was shut down in 2008. Officially, it was due to structural damage. That's the version written in reports. But students who were there, they remember something else. They remember him. The first sightings Blackwood School wasn't unusual at first. Small, isolated, surrounded by trees that blocked most of the sunlight. But sometime around late 2007, students started reporting a man. Always the same description. Tall, thin standing, completely still, and smiling. Too wide. Not a normal smile, a stretched one. Like his face didn't know how to stop. He never walked in. Here's what made it strange. No one ever saw him enter the school. He was just there, standing at the end of hallways, inside empty classrooms, at the far edge of the playground, watching, always watching. The rule. At first, teachers dismissed it as imagination, until one student said something that changed everything. He only moves when you're not looking at him. After that, the rule spread. If you saw him, you didn't look away, not even for a second. The incident in room 12. A teacher named Mr. Halpern tried to prove it was all nonsense. He gathered a group of students who claimed to have seen the man. They went into room 12 after school, and there he was, standing in the corner, smiling, not moving. Mr. Halpern walked right up to him. No reaction. He turned to the students and said, "See? Nothing." Then he blinked, just once. When he opened his eyes again, the man was closer, not by much, but enough. Enough to make Mr. Halpern step back. What the students noticed. The students began documenting patterns, and what they discovered was worse than any ghost story. The man didn't just move when you looked away. He moved when you stopped paying attention. That includes blinking, turning your head slightly, even letting your focus drift. And every time he moved, his smile got wider. The camera test one student, Ethan Cole, decided to record him. He set up a camera in an empty hallway where the man had been seen. The footage was recovered later, and it's still considered one of the most disturbing pieces of evidence. At first, the hallway's empty. Then suddenly, the man is there. No transition, no entry. Just present. He stands still, smiling. Minutes pass. Nothing happens until the camera glitches, just a fraction of a second. When the footage stabilizes, he's closer. Frame by frame analysis. Investigators slowed the footage, analyzed every frame. What they found shouldn't be possible. There are frames where he isn't fully there, like something incomplete. His face stretched beyond human limits, eyes too wide, smile tearing into his cheeks, and in one frame, he's right in front of the camera. The last day of school, on the final day before the school shut down. Something happened that was never officially recorded, but multiple students told the same story. During lunch, every student in the cafeteria went silent at the same time. No warning, no signal. They all just stopped because he was there, standing at the entrance, smiling, watching. The teacher who tried to leave. A teacher named Ms. Carter grabbed a group of students and rushed for the exit. She told them not to look back, not under any circumstances. They ran, fast, but one student looked back, just for a second, and screamed. Ms. Carter turned instinctively, just for a moment, and that was enough. What was found? When authorities arrived, the school was empty. No signs of forced entry, no signs of violence, just abandoned belongings, backpacks, phones, food trays still on tables, but no people. The security footage. Only one camera had usable footage, the cafeteria entrance. It shows students sitting, talking, then suddenly, silence. Every head turns toward the same direction, the doorway, but the camera shows nothing there, just empty space. Yet the students react as if something is standing right in front of them. Then, one by one, they begin to stand, slowly, calmly, and walk toward the doorway, as if being called. The final frame. The last frame of the footage is corrupted, but technicians manage to extract part of it. It shows a face, close to the camera, too close, smiling, wider than humanly possible. Why the school was closed. The official reason was structural damage, but locals know the truth. The building still stands, abandoned, rotting, and sometimes, at dusk, people driving past report seeing someone standing in the windows, tall, still, smiling. The most disturbing detail. A former student, years later, gave an interview. They were asked, "Do you think it followed anyone?" The student hesitated, then said, "It doesn't follow you." A pause then. "It waits for you to forget."